you need boots on the ground in Bennington. We need boots on the ground in Brattleboro that can meet with people face to face. We know the climate. We know when a building is empty and it's available. We know when somebody's upset in neighboring New York State over their property taxes. We can go call on them and say, hey, you know, Vermont's a friendly environment, and that works very well. You can't do that from a centralized area in Montpelier. It just isn't possible.
Right.
And so they recognize that. So
yeah,
that's pretty much the process that we're in.
Okay. You mentioned your revenue for the last 3 years or so.
Declining.
Right. And what about your expenses those years?
The expenses, and you can see with the financial statements, we have continued to cut our expenses. It's a little bit skewed in '09 because there were a lot of expenses that were related to, and it flowed into 2010 as well. We sold our incubator space in North Bennington, which we had to do. The fuel bills there were eating us alive. It was like every month we were just getting deeper and deeper into, so we had to unload that property. But there were expenses related to that after the sale that we've continued to incur, legal expenses, consulting expenses, etc. So those are no longer recurring now. So it's you're not really comparing apples to apples.
Right.
But I would say in the last probably 16 to 18 months, our expenses have been cut bare bone in our flat. And it's a matter of, well, to cut them more, then we have to eliminate our executive director and really not be a viable entity.
Yeah.
And we've decided we don't want to do that, which is why we've gone, all right, let's find other sources and fundraise. And find a way to keep things solvent
right.
until the state decides to approach our funding in a different manner.
Yeah. So were you running in the red in '09 and 2010?
Yes.
Yes. By how much?
In 2009, we showed a loss of $77,000. And in 2010, we showed a loss of $111,000. Albeit both of those years, that's after about $31,000 in depreciation. So an actual cash loss may have been more like $46,000 in '09.
Okay.
And more like $70,000 in 2010.
Okay.
And for the 11 year, 2011, now this is our own internal, and the accountants at some point before our annual meeting in April will present another audited financial statement. We're showing a cash loss of about $74,000 for 2011.
Okay. And you also mentioned that between signing up new shareholders and some fundraising that you balanced your books for 2012. Do you expect to no longer be in the red at the end of this year?
At the end of 2012, we are projecting to break even.
Okay.
And the difference is really the revenues generated from the shareholders and the fundraisers, etc. That's also assuming that the state maintains that level of giving of $91,000 for 2012, which we've been told will be there.
Yeah.
So, given those factors, we'll be fine for 2012.
Okay.
But then again, it puts in a position, and we have to continue to fundraise and continue to find other ways to raise money.
Right.
If the state is not going to do something about the way they fund us.
Now, you also, to break even in 2012, does that factor in the moratorium on your loan?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Okay.
Our principal payments, it's a very good point. The principal payments on our loans that we have out there, because we have loans with the town of Bennington, we also have loans with VEDA, Vermont Economic Development Authority, on our property up in Shields Drive. We've continued to invest in the infrastructure up there, you know, the roads, the utilities, everything, so it's a completely shovel-ready project, which it is at this time.
Right.
And that's also our largest asset. We're carrying that on the books now at $696,000. So when you look at our balance sheet, you think, oh, these guys are in great shape. They're showing total assets of $850,000, and our total liabilities are only $260,000, and so we have a net worth of over $500,000. From a banker's perspective, you think that's very strong, which it is. The problem is the primary asset is illiquid. I can't write checks against Shield Drive. I have to be able to sell lots, attract business, and do what we are charged to do with economic development. So that's the conundrum.
Okay.